you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Hurricanes game is over. Time to break it down. It's all about the U. The Miami Hurricanes Postgame Show has made landfall. The Postgame Show is on the SportsTalk305 Network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Oh, hello. This is as ugly as it gets, folks. Welcome aboard to the Miami Hurricanes postgame show here on the SportsTalk305 Network. You just heard it there with the big voice guy, Mike, and myself. We will now carry you for the next, I don't know how long we're going to go, but we'll take your comments, all good stuff. I see the chat board's already blowing up. There's nothing to talk about with this game when it comes to effort, respectability, coaching. This was one of the 5 worst performances in my 56 years, and I'm not 56 yet. I'll be 56 October 1st. But in watching the Canes since I was a kid in the 70s till now, Mario Cristobal officially gets, in there in the top 5. This was as disgusting a performance as I've ever seen a Miami Hurricanes team. This is as bad as anything that Al Golden did. This is as bad as anything that Randy Shannon did. This is absolutely horrible. Now, I'm not going to tell you fire Mario or any of that stupid ass stuff, but he's got a lot to reassess, because I look at the other side and they got outplayed by a lesser team. They got dominated. In fact, Middle Tennessee State University football team is better than the University of Miami football team, and they also have a better coaching staff. Okay, because that's the other thing. Mario, for me, this falls on Mario and his staff completely. And last week, they shit the bed. They couldn't finish plays. They made stupid mistakes with penalties. They made mistakes on special teams. They showed no guts at 3rd and 6. They failed last week when they had opportunities also, and they could not close. Well, they faced a lesser team today on their home field. And brother, this is a absolute embarrassment by Mario Cristobal and his staff. And I hope that they're the ones that are looking themselves in the mirror, because they're the reasons why that team was so unprepared today, Mike. Disgusting. That's what that was.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong on 2 fronts. One, this is not on the coaching staff at all. Coaches coach, players play.
Nope, you prepare them, bro. You prepare them. No, you prepare them.
You can't prepare. No. All right, let me ask you this.
That effort. There was no effort.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. I can coach you till I'm blue in the face. You don't coach effort. That's not how it works in sports.
But then you have to put the people on the field that do put effort.
Agreed.
So if
you don't have that
field, that's coaching. Then you have the wrong people. You're not identifying people. I'm not here. There's no excuses to be made.
I'm not making excuses. I want to ask you something about what you said. I want to ask you something about what you said in the pregame, dude. Because I want to ask you. I want to ask you about something you said in the pregame. You said he inherited a shit roster. So if you can't find the right guys, he doesn't have the guys, according to you.
No. This is Middle Tennessee State, dude. Okay, I give you the break last week at Texas A&M with a shit roster. We're talking a shit roster on the ACC level. We're not talking about any lesser conferences like Middle Tennessee State, dude. You should be kicking Conference USA and any other sorry-ass conference like that up and down. You have the best talent in your division. Right, no matter what's going on with North Carolina and everybody else, your talent overall, and by the way, the overall conference is not great. It's not like I have this incredible respect for the ACC, but there is zero excuses for the coaches today. Their players weren't prepared. Their players got out-hustled. Their players got out-muscled, and their coaching staff got jobbed. Jobbed. They got out-coached. Go ahead.
Check this out, because I wasn't done with that first point. Miami didn't get out-coached today. They got out-physicaled. You don't coach, okay, how to beat a guy that you are 30 pounds bigger than and 3 inches taller than. Okay, that's effort. That's hard. And what Miami thought last week, and excuse me, True Fin Fan 78, shut your ass up, okay, because I'm 38 years old and I didn't just get out of high school. So do your homework before you come on here talking crap on this show. True Fin Fan 78. How about you stay talking about the Fins? How about that? Back to what I was saying to Orlando. You don't coach effort. This team thought that they showed up last week.
You always coach effort, my brother. You don't play.
We disagree. Fine. We'll agree to disagree.
You don't take the court if you don't play hard for the Miami team.
Then we'll agree to disagree on that. Then we'll disagree to disagree on that. That's fine. I don't think you coach effort. I think you coach X's and O's because coaches coach and players play. I can tell you every technique in the book, how to catch a football, how to block a guy, give you a sports therapist, and bring in Tom Brady to throw the ball to you, and you can still drop it, okay? You're not a good player, okay? We saw Mike Redding on one of the few passes that TVD had on point today drop ball after ball after ball. We saw Mallory drop a touchdown when it was a fumble, all right? Drop a touchdown pretty much.
That I know.
We saw Justice Oluwaseun leave his nuts in Coral Gables in his dorm because number 70 can't block anything to save his life, okay? This falls on the play on the field. You're trying to tell me that
if he can't block, it falls on Mirabal.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
If anything, you have to put the right people in place, so it's on Mirabal. Just like Gaddis's offense, the play design for that offense is absolutely horrible half the time, bro. Are you kidding me? It's terrible what's going on with Gaddis. And one of the things I talked about with Manny, and we'll have Manny on soon. And this was like about a month ago when we were talking about this, and I said, Gaddis has got to be careful in the way you transition and put in your new offense, because this is an offense and players that were built for Lashley's offense. So all of a sudden you're trying to change everything up. You may not want to go from night and day. You may want to keep some of the elements that you had as you ease into a new offense. And he's done a terrible job with really mixing things in at times. And that's the sad part about this, bro. This offense looks completely in shambles. I'd rather put it this way, Lashley or Gaddis. I'll take Lashley every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So far from what I'm seeing, I'm not impressed by Gaddis at all.
Let me tell you why I partly agree with what you said, because TVD seems to excel in a tempo offense, right? And that was a lot of buzz. Like, what did we see this week? Oh, when the offense was moving, he went part-time tempo. You cannot You cannot, if you want to bring in your whole offense, do that. But you also have to see what works for these guys. You can't fit a square
coaching, my
peg
brother.
in a round
That's
hole.
Coaching. That's coaching.
Okay, but we saw that adjustment at least a little bit offensively. We saw some tempo, but guess what? How much tempo can you get into? Oh, if your receivers are dropping the ball.
I totally understand that, my man. That part, there's no defense. That's why when people said, "Oh my God, Jake Garcia, let's put him in there," I go, they're going to drop balls for him too, bro. They're not going to block for him also, and he's going to make mistakes. And eventually, as you keep dropping passes, he'll become Tyler Van Dyke. He'll overthrow. He'll underthrow. He was already doing it by the end of the game. Did you see his numbers? They were 10-19, just like Van Dyke was 50% also, 16 of 32 or whatever it was. The stats were identical. And Garcia would end up being Van Dyke because it's just human nature. You get frustrated. Look at Tua for 2 years, under pressure all the time. And sometimes you find yourself trying to force things because it's a bad offense. So that's what's going on with Van Dyke, and the same crap is going to happen to Garcia. But fans get into this silly-ass mode like Garcia's going to save you when the situation is all effed up, dude. It's all effed up. And as a coach, you got to find a way to bring this. You knew you had the drops already, right? Well, find a way to run a better offense through the running backs. We talked about this. How many passes to the running backs tonight? How many?
I don't have. They haven't emailed.
How many? I'll give it to you right now. I've got the scoreboard up, but you could tell if I tell you that, you off the top of your head. Do you remember a lot of them? Right.
I know. Thad dropped a pass. He caught a pass. I don't remember Parrish going out for a pass. I don't remember Knighton. He didn't even play much. So
one for Parrish.
I know Thad caught one, and I know he dropped one. I know that.
2, 3 passes to the running backs, dude.
Okay. So look.
And you're the one that talked about it, that they catch passes, which is true, but that's coaching. Holy shit, my guys are having trouble. Let me dump it off a couple times. Get my playmate.
Yeah, they dropped it too. So what do you do when everybody's dropping passes? Is that coaching?
You got to keep throwing it. They don't drop a lot of passes. They don't get a lot of passes. Throw it more to them. The receivers get enough.
Okay, but all right. So, we just talked about 3 drop passes. We talked about the tight ends, which I love. All right, Mallory played a good game last week. He played an okay game this week. It would have been perfect if he would have kept the hang on to that ball for that touchdown. Okay. Yeah. You finally throw to Skinner and he almost scores a touchdown. Arroyo doesn't get used enough. But what happens when your line isn't blocking? What happens when you're dropping passes? Like you said, you become shaky. You overthrow guys. You don't have confidence in guys. The fan base is going to turn on Garcia soon. Like they turned on TVD. Like they turned on TVD.
I found it silly. I don't have a problem with TVD. I know exactly what he's
I don't either.
But the coaches
all over.
The coaches have to do a better job, man. They have to reel in this offense and the effort. There were times where we talked about this before in the pregame. We talked about, are we going to see consistent effort? Because at least the effort was there last week.
They did it.
And I'm like, okay, no letdown. Well, there shouldn't be a letdown. You just lost. And you don't want to lose this game going to ACC play. And, brother, there were examples after example after example of emotionless play at times. Guys that just didn't look like they cared enough.
No,
and that was screwed up, man.
Oh, that's not coaching to me. If I have to tell you to get up against the team that you should dominate, I'm sorry. That's not a coach's job to get.
Well, then you've identified the wrong people on your team. Well,
but again, this is a roster that was inherited.
And whether it's stuff you inherited, and by the way, some of those guys that we talked about are guys that transferred in too. So it's a mix of everything that has kind of reared its ugly head.
I agree, it's a mix of everything. But today, I blame 95% of what happened today on players. Okay, players' performance on the field.
I'm the reverse.
Okay, well that's fine.
This bad is coaching. You know, you want to come down to a couple of plays, and we can say, okay, players didn't make a couple of plays. I'm with you, Mike, on that. Okay. But when you look this disgraceful from beginning to end, and even when you scored, and then the defense comes back out on the field, and you fold like a cheap 10, and they come right back, and you let them march right back down. I mean, this was one of the more gutless performances I have ever seen from a Canes team today. I mean, really gutless. Like, there's a bunch of those guys that don't deserve to wear the uniform. And by the way, this whole thing about kids, they're getting paid now. So please don't tell me about this shit about criticism. Go stick that where the sun don't shine. You're getting paid now, okay? A lot of you are getting paid. So you got to live up to it, man. That's it. That's the bottom line. This comes with criticism. This comes with expectations. You want the hype? You want the NIL money? Well, you need to show up. A whole bunch of those guys need to return their NIL money is what they need to do. Go donate it.
Really quick, VLKV and Yardman Mike, I'll show you what Gable Soft looks like if you want to DM me, okay? You don't know me, so just stay in your place and go to your room. All right? Let's put that out there first. Secondly,
go ahead.
Secondly, I think we disagree about this, about it being a 95 to 5% players versus coaches thing, because in your opinion, effort is coaching. And to me, effort is not something you coach. So that's why we disagree on that.
You identified the wrong players. If they don't give you effort, then you identified the wrong players during practice, during recruiting, during meetings. So what are they doing? Are they?
Well, let me ask you this.
So all of a sudden, are they actors during the week?
Let me ask you. Well, look, you said it. You said it 2 weeks ago.
Apparently, they are, because the coaches tell us, the last 2 weeks after they took out after practices weren't open anymore, it was like, oh no, we fixed this, we fixed that. Apparently, they're good actors.
Okay, well, listen,
apparently the coaches are bad directors.
You play the guys that perform well in practice, right? You can't award a guy that doesn't play well in practice. So if they're playing well all week and then suck when the lights come on, this has been the story of DJ Ivey his whole career.
By the way, who the hell says they're performing well all week, my brother? Who the hell says that?
They're performing well enough to start. They're performing well enough to get more snaps.
Guess what, Mike? See, here's where you're wrong again on this one. They have no credibility here. They don't show us practice. There's no third eye watching it. So I don't give a shit what Mario Cristobal or Josh Gaddis or any of those guys tell me about practice. You kiss my ass about practice. I need to watch it. Obviously, your practice sucks because your games suck. So the way you practice is the way you play, my man. So don't tell me that they're playing well behind the scenes, because you don't know it. No one's going behind the scenes. And everybody else that goes behind the scenes are obviously staying quiet about it and not saying what a disaster it is, because you can't play like this and practice well. That's crap, my brother. Absolute crap. Every coach will tell you the way you practice is the way you play.
And I don't disagree with that.
Says do everything the way you do or whatever that all. Well, apparently they must be doing everything really shitty because their games are really shitty.
I don't disagree with how you play, how you practice, but you've been around sports, like you said, however some odd years you've been in the radio, well respected in South Florida, okay? You have seen more talented teams lose to lesser talented teams all the time, number one. Number two, okay?
Not to Middle Tennessee States.
I get it. But we've seen it.
That didn't happen to the Canes back in the day.
But hold on.
They didn't lose to Middle Tennessee State.
Because Middle Tennessee State is not a more talented team than Miami. Middle Tennessee State is a team that was freaking hyped up to play Miami, all right, and took a freaking advantage of a team that thought they were going to roll out their helmets on the damn field.
They abused them
because they played well at A&M last week, and that's how they thought they were going to win. Miami it's an immature team. It's an immature team, number one. Okay, they're believing in the hype. They were reading their headlines. CVD was reading whatever headlines about himself. I believe that he's uncomfortable in a non-RPO system at the moment, because that's what he excelled in last year. In a system that doesn't have a lot of tempo, which is what he excelled in last year. Okay, and because of how they looked last week in a loss, which was very respectable, they thought they're going to roll their helmets out on the field. That has something to do with this loss. You can't tell me that it doesn't.
Well, no, that's been going on with Canes players for 20 years, that they think they can roll out the logo and they're living off of everybody else that did it 20 years ago and more. Yes. That's the problem, because the
other part that you were talking about.
The thing is, what the Canes players of the last 20 years have to understand, that chapter means nothing. You accomplished
nothing. Nobody's scared of the Canes anymore. Nobody's scared of the Canes anymore.
So it's like you haven't earned a damn thing. And that's my problem with all of this. When I watch a performance like this against a team like that, that tells me here's the other thing that I was going to tell you about this game. Okay. This coaching staff is not a great coaching staff. They're only great by reputation and name. As a group, as a collective, they've never worked together to have great success. So they're not a great coaching staff. And by the way, none of them, I think, have ever accomplished anything great yet as coaches, right? They haven't won championships or anything like that, right? Gaddis, Steele, did he win a championship as a coordinator?
No.
Okay, and then Mario hasn't either.
Well, he was at Alabama. I don't know if he was there at Alabama when they won. Steele,
he was a recruiter with Alabama more than anything else, right?
Gaddis was at Alabama. I don't know if they won when he was there.
Well, there's a good chance if he was there during Saban, he had to have been one of those damn years. But as a collective, this is not a great staff yet. We love the names that we brought them all together here. We're saying, hey, well, what a staff. And that's the other thing that's going on too, Mikey. Not only do they have to figure out what players are the right players, Mario Cristobal has to figure out if he has the right staff that he's put together also.
I believe he does.
Because his vision may be this guy, that guy, this guy fits. But then later on, he finds out that guy and that guy don't fit. And that's what he's going to have to find. And we're all going to have to find out. But the last 2 weeks, there's a lot of things to question about the coaching staff the last 2 weeks. They gave you a lot. In a big game, you couldn't find ways to finish, and you made mistakes. You made key turnovers in a big game that you easily could have won. And now you played a lesser team, and you looked even worse, and you weren't prepared. And that has to fall on coaching in the last 2 weeks. What went on the first 2 weeks, hell, and one of them you also struggled against one of those teams. That was a struggle early on against Southern Miss. So, this coaching staff has a lot to figure out, Mike. We don't know if they're really great as a collective. We only know that individually they bring a lot to the table. But will this mesh? Will they be able to coexist? And will the chemistry be there in the way each of them coach their positions and their philosophies and things like that? It's all great in theory, but in the end, it has to work in reality. And right now, that's the other thing. That's the other jury. That's again, listen, none of this I'm saying, oh, fire Cristobal, this and that. But Cristobal himself has to look himself in the mirror and go, wow, bro. This was one of the worst days I've ever had in my life at this job. I did a terrible job today. And he has to be incredibly unhappy with himself overall. And he has to reassess everything, including his coaching. He has to do that. Not changes or anything. Just take a look, take a step back and say, yo, what are we doing here? Are we really doing the right things? Because that was bad today. That was bad.
The resume for these coaches speaks way better than what any of these kids have done in college and high school combined. Okay, so I am not. Huh?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, dude. I've seen people with great resumes go to places and fail.
What I'm trying to say is the following: is if I have a guy that's been there, done that, and he's done a great job everywhere else except here, what does that tell you? That the players that you're trying to coach something new to aren't getting it between the ears. I don't care if you're 6'5", 220, or 1 or 4'3". Okay, if you still hold on a face mask, if you can't sit your fat ass in front of somebody and block somebody that's smaller than you, okay, and if you didn't come into the game mentally, that is on you. What I do agree with what you said in terms of, them not playing the right guys or whatever. Mario probably waited a little too long to put in Jake. Okay, that's number one. The other part is you got to take their word for what they say in practice, because there's nobody else to say otherwise. And plus, the coaches are not going to throw these guys under the bus and say, yeah, he had a shitty practice. That's never going to happen, That's never going to happen.
I know, but obviously the practices are shitty because the games aren't good. So they're in no way, we have a Mario Cristobal press conference. Let's go to it.
That real men look in the mirror and do something about it, and don't allow any cracks to happen from the inside. We all came here for a purpose and a reason. We got a lot of work to do. The truth. our run game was nowhere near what it has been. They had an extra man in the box, but we still didn't block them as well as we need to. We didn't hit it as hard as we need to, and scheme it up as well as we need to. Credit to them for putting an extra guy in the box. We RPO'd it some of the times, had some success. Started slow, real slow, about as bad as the first quarters you can have. No excuses, give it to you straight. So. Scheme change, it's different. Some things with it are different. Obviously, most of over 65% of his receiving production is gone. And then an injury to Xavier is having us develop guys that are working hard to get better. So we got to do a better job setting them up for success and doing things offensively that allow us to have a more successful, a more productive pass game. He did. He provided certainly some big plays. Threw the ball well. Created some opportunities for us to go down there and score. Did a really good job. Well, I can't throw that guy's a great competitor. He's a great player. And I'm not going to use this opportunity to throw anybody under the bus. I think come on, man. These things they're brutally difficult, but they're non-excusable. So, and as a coach, if you're worth an ounce of integrity, you certainly don't put it on your players. We got a long ways to go. I knew we had a long ways to go upon arrival, but we have a little bit. The progress that we had made in some respects, I feel like certainly we've regressed. And we got to do a better job. We practiced well. Thought pregame went as it always goes. We pushed them hard in pregame, and we get the ball. We had the interception, hold the field goal, and then they batted ball for a touchdown as well. So they created some momentum early. And our special teams really didn't create something until later in the game. So field position was what it was, and we didn't get the ground game going like we always do. And red zone first quarter, I believe, ended up with 3 points as well. So went another quarter without scoring a touchdown. And then we got some things going late, but they started getting us on explosive plays. They got us on, I believe, 3, 4, 60-plus yard touchdowns, caught us in man coverage, and got behind us. So credit to them for scheming it up. We got to do a better job coaching up our guys with technique, and then we got to play better. Man coverage. You can check the film. There's no sugarcoating it. We got to obviously scheme it better or analyze matchups better, right, to help our players be as successful as they can be. They got behind us. Good throw, good catch, but they got behind us. We always thought they were a good passing operation. I mean, they've thrown for a significant amount of yardage, and have always been an excellent passing attack. And the ball's gone, so your pass rush, for the most part, is negated. It's out of there. So, and the quarterback ran a couple times that extended drives where we should have, but no excuse. None. Yeah, the Jalen was an ankle. Parrish is being evaluated. Tyreek, lower extremity. I don't know how serious it was. Lou Headley could not punt. He had a strain pregame. So, Will Hutchinson. So those guys were down. I forgot who else you mentioned. Zion didn't play. Zion had to rest that knee. Darryl Porter did. First time got the wind knocked out of him. Second time it looked like a shoulder. He's going to reevaluate in there now. I don't think it's very serious, but we'll see. Oh, there better be. I mean, if there isn't, you shouldn't play this sport. Not here at the University of Miami. You really got to be a man about this stuff. You know, you've got to be an adult about this stuff. All of us, every player, every coach, every person in the organization. It's just hard to take. And when I say that, I give credit to every opponent we play. Not downgrading the opponent. I'm not. But we should have played a lot better than what we did. And in terms of leadership, the only expectation is for everyone to show up and ready to get better and do their best and work harder, because obviously what we have done is not good enough and isn't enough. So, right. The process we had planned to practice a certain way we always do in a bye week, and we've had some very good success after bye weeks at previous stops. So that plan does not change. You know, guys have to step up in situations or position groups that are injured. But in terms of, we practice hard. We practice hard during the bye week. It's a very competitive bye week in terms of good on good and the amount of work that we do. We're also smart about it. Guys that are injured or are gimping around, we try to get them well. And we got to jump on our next opponent or any issues that we have had. So obviously with today's issues, we got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
There he is, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, stoic and honest, and no excuses. He said none. I thought, one of the points that I thought was interesting, he said long ways to go. Progress we thought we made in some respects, we now have regressed.
Yep.
And so that tells me that you have done a poor job of assessing your progress, because you really weren't as good as you thought you were. And then the other doozy that followed up, he said, well, we practice well. Well, that's a bad assessment also, because you didn't play well last week. You failed in a bunch of areas when you had to try to finish drives, mistakes and penalties and special teams mistakes. And then the same thing. And this week was even worse, Mike, because you came in flat as a team. At least you weren't flat last week. And I guess maybe, hey, you know what? I've got the answer, Mikey.
What?
The entire team loves the college atmosphere. They walked into a ghost town today. There was like 150 fans. Yay, yay, a smattering of claps. Tyler Van Dyke was depressed. The team was depressed. The coaching staff was depressed. And that's it, dude. It was like one of those inflatable things. It was just gone. That's what happened. See, now I figured it out now. We have to put them at, next week at Rocky Top, and then the following week in the Big House, and the following week we'll go visit the stupid Ducks in Oregon. They'll fill up the place. They'll quack out there for Mario, and Van Dyke will like it. I just figured it out. No, but in all seriousness, just a bad. You're telling me that you're doing this. You're telling me you're progressing. You're telling me you're practicing well. But it's the same thing as when camp closed. Oh, no, we fixed some of the things on offense. And then when season starts, it's like, you fixed what?
Oh, let me ask you a serious question. If Miami look, and I'm going to use the phrase so good, okay, because to me, they looked really good last week, except when you got in the red zone, okay? O-line did what?
Except when special teams made mistakes.
Okay, hold on. O-line
when they made penalties.
And hold on. O-line dominated. D-line dominated. Let me finish. Wait.
If you dominate, you get past the 20, dude.
Hold on. Déjame terminar, hermano. Hold on. Okay? Give me a second. You dominated the trenches. That's what Mario came here for last week. How do you get up for a game like that and perform so well at Kyle Field, right? 107,000 people, and look like dog shit this week? How's that coaching? Oh, that is immaturity at its best.
You have low standards.
That is immaturity at its best.
If you think that was great last week, you have low standards, bro. I don't want an offense that sputters in between the 20s, dude.
Well, hold
That's
on,
what
wait,
happened
hold
last
on.
week.
Hold on, because they
And by the way,
sputtered.
3rd and 6 inside the 10, when
they
your offense
sputtered.
can't score, I want you to have some balls and go for it because you're not going to beat them again.
They sputtered because some play calling was questionable and some penalties happened. However,
that's your coaches. That's your coaches on the play calling.
That's just something that we're always going to disagree on. Oh, and I respect you. I love you, brother. But that's just something we're going to disagree on because I can tell you till you're blue in the face. Oh, yeah. Despiértate, hermano. And you just can't get it. All right?
Right. Okay. But if you keep playing the guy that can't get it, that's on you, dude.
Oh, but what happens when there's nobody else behind? I mean, you said it. They don't have the best roster. You said it. You've been saying it.
If you own the bank and you hire the security guard that falls asleep right in front of the safe, that's not a good thing there, Mikey. They're hiring a bunch of security guards that are falling asleep right in front of the safe.
I do not agree with the fact that they've had, or not the fact. I'm sorry. I do not agree with the opinion that they practice horribly. Okay, because I'm sorry. I don't think Mara's going to sugarcoat that. Is he going to call out his players? No, but if he is asked,
he should say, "Hey, we're working hard. We're trying to improve every day." Don't tell us that you corrected some of the things.
If he is asked, does such and such look great in practice? I believe he'll answer that question honestly. But he's not going to voluntarily throw his guys under the bus because that's how you lose a lot.
No. I'm all for that. It's not his place to do that. I can do that. That's fine. That's all right. I've been doing it for 32 years. I know how to put his players and the coaches under the bus. I mean, I'm exceptional at that. Leave me to do that. So I don't expect him to do that. Just don't lie to me. Just don't tell me that you've improved and don't tell me that you're practicing well. Just say you're working hard. We're trying to get better every week. Give me the company line that every player and athlete that's smart and coach and whatever at any sport knows how to give you that answer that's right on the fence that doesn't tell you anything whatsoever. You know what I mean? Just go. In fact, why don't you just go interview the safety of the Miami Dolphins and he'll give you he's a second-year player and he acts like a 17-year veteran and he'll give you every answer with no answer. And that's what you're supposed to do. Don't paint yourself into a corner that you can't get out of. And that's what they did. Don't tell us you're getting better and don't tell us that you've corrected your mistakes and you're looking good or you've practiced well. Now, just don't even mention that, dude, because it doesn't sound good because you can't say you've practiced well and you don't play well. That hurts you as a coach. That hurts your credibility. You can't say that. Just say, hey, we're working hard. Kids are trying to improve. Hopefully we'll put together a better performance this week. Boom. Doesn't say you're better. Doesn't say you fixed it. They can't say anything. They can't hold it against you. That's the game that you're supposed to play. And he better learn that game quickly because if not, it's going to turn on him quickly, unfortunately.
I believe he's done that. Oh, he's given a bunch of cliche answers. He's given a bunch of cliche answers.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they're usually the rah cliche ones that he does. You know, everything you do it right, and this and that, and all those rah ones. The late Sperano used to do that kind of stuff too. But it's more than, don't give it to the media, bro. Don't tell your fan base that you fixed this and that you're looking great or your offense is looking good or what. No, just say, hey, it's a work in progress every day.
It's just confusing.
We're nowhere where we need to be and all that. Just don't mislead people like that because it makes you look bad. Don't tell me you practice well all week when you can't play well.
It's just hard for me to say as FSU streaks down the sideline for a touchdown. God damn, I hate that they're undefeated. But in any event.
And look, they're finding ways to win, which is like weird, right? And Miami is finding ways to lose. And I was looking at this. They got NC, at Vautech, Duke, at Virginia, FSU, at G-Tech, at Clemson, and then Pitt. I was hoping you'd win most of these games. Now I'm hoping now I don't know if you can win half of these games now the way you're playing. The kind of changes you've got to make from here on out just to win half these games? Or let's
I don't
say
think that's the case. And let me tell you why. Oh, these kids didn't give a damn about today's game. I'm telling you, that's what the case is. All right. And when I had this show on Tuesday,
but they're not good enough to turn it on.
I agree with that. And that is a sign of an immature team, which is what lost today, which was part of the reason it lost last week. Okay. You can't tell me that a team that had their coaching staff that had its players up to play in one of the biggest, most intimidating venues in all of college football last week forgot how to coach in a week. Coaches coach and players play. And these kids are not good enough, like you said, to turn it on and off. They think they are because they're beasts. They're dogs. They're this and that in the recruiting trail. This and that. They're not ready for it.
Even my Williams boy today didn't look good.
Williams,
Man.
James Williams. No, listen. Hey, look, across the board. The one that played the hardest was Parrish, and he got hurt. Okay? And he got hurt.
He always plays hard. But he always plays hard.
This is, like I said, players play and coaches coach. To me, and I know I'm repeating myself, and we're
but I'd like to see everybody play like Henry Parrish.
I hear that, okay? But to me, this was 5 to 10% on coaching today. And I don't think you can coach effort. If I have to tell you, let me ask you a question, since we like to talk about the Dolphins so much here. If you have to tell the Dolphins to get ready for the Buffalo Bills tomorrow, what does that say about the Dolphins?
No, that's the pros. You can't. There's no such thing.
But it's football. Oh, it's a
sport. You have to be ready for every team.
It's a sport.
And in college too, you have to be ready for every team.
It's
you know
what
I mean?
There's
no excuses. You're not good enough to overlook anyone. That's been proven for years now at the Canes. They lose against sorry teams. They struggle to beat sorry teams.
Okay.
They're notorious. As notorious as the Canes were for winning championships and being great, in the last 15 years, they're notorious for being terrible, losing to bad teams, barely beating bad teams, having undisciplined players, not actually playing the game the right way. And unfortunately, Mike, Mario Cristobal has not erased any of that so far. You've watched it the last 2 weeks. Major mistakes, major disappointments overall, and that's the bad scene. By the way, man of 1,005 holds, thank you for the love on the super chat. Players and coaches both lost this game. Juan Castillo, thank you for the love also on the super chat. I know somebody, I forgot who sent it in earlier. I know somebody also sent in one. I think it was Leon Fresco. Thank you, sir, also for the love on the super chat. So thank you there. Go ahead, Mikey.
What I would like to see, and this is one of the few things that I think coaching went wrong in today, other than waiting a little bit too long to have Jake come in the game. I really, really, really would like the coaching staff, or Gaddis in particular, to let the quarterbacks have a little bit more ownership at the line of scrimmage rather than that check with me system. Okay. I think that takes a lot of. I'm sorry?
That's not going to happen. They're also worried. Mikey, they're also worried about their jobs nowadays. The coaches control, even in the NFL, they want to control everything from the sidelines now. You know, I grew up watching Elway and Marino and run the offense from the field. Jim Kelly, he didn't have to even look. He had the whole playbook in his thing, and he'd just run the whole thing, Montana. But back in those days, the coaches, even in the college level, they would entrust their quarterbacks, and they would give them the responsibilities. Now, we dummy down the whole sport. We don't give the quarterback the freedom to learn the offense, learn the defense, grow, call it himself. The middle linebacker, we no longer give them any power either. We're standing on the sidelines at the college level with 8 different signs because our players, we've dumbed them down, and we're making them learn in piecemeal instead of really educating them about the whole system. It's a real shame. And the reason why, because we fire coaches like we change underwears. So high school coaches will not teach their quarterbacks to be empowered. College coaches won't do it, and neither will the NFL coaches. And it used to be a lot more in the NFL. Now it's like that because they're so worried about their jobs. They're controlling everything from the sidelines, and they can't put the trust of their job into that child's hands or that man's hands. It's crazy, dude. But that's the reason why.
Well, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Not you. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying that mentality. I'm saying that mentality. Okay.
I'm with you.
And look, we see it in college football happen still. Some coaches really are, maybe it's the most experienced quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks in the nation, but it's not like if it's completely gone from the game. And at the pro level as well, I can't speak so much for high school because I don't have enough time to watch high school games. However, if you're asking me what I think can get done or something, have a little bit more empowerment to that quarterback. All right. This is his first year. All right.
I love it. I love it, but it's not going to happen.
That I want to see. I still have yet. Look, you threw one time to Jaleel Skinner today. He was targeted one time, almost scored and to me, did he step out to you on that play? Because I thought I saw some green between his toes.
Oh, no, he was inbound, dude. That was a terrible call. That was a terrible call.
So that's 6. Okay. The one time you targeted him today, 5-star tight end that you beat Alabama out for, that can play receiver a lot like Kyle Pitts can, scored a touchdown. All right. Target him more. Can we, for Christ's sake, please throw some fades in the end zone? Lashley never did it. I still haven't seen. I've been calling for 2 weeks. You have 6'3", 6'4", and 6'5", and 6'6" players all on the roster. Throw it to him. That doesn't take coaching. That takes ball skill.
They did with Rambo. We did a couple of those last year. They did some throw ups down the
in
sideline.
The red zone. I'm talking about in the red zone. Some fades.
They didn't do a lot of that because remember it's a high speed offense, so you don't really end up doing a lot of those kind of plays because you score so quickly, and usually you score from outside of the red zone. You know what I'm saying? It's usually like that. Right. So I think that's why I love your idea. I'm not saying I disagree with you like on the coaching thing. I completely disagree with you on that. But yeah, I love your idea. But then again, that falls on what I told you is coaching, that you're not making the right decisions in practice. You're not making the right decisions on who you're playing or whatever. Bro, if your junior or senior or your sophomore isn't giving you effort and they're well, then just go now to the redshirt freshman, bro.
And look, this is
call his ass up and that's it. And forget about his redshirt year and just play him. Get rid of the trash. But you got to identify it.
I get it. And look, we disagree in the sense that this as well, because you feel that Miami not Miami, that Mario inherited a terrible roster. I disagree with that. I don't think it's as bad as you make it seem. There are holes in the roster for sure, but I don't think as a whole, because you want to know what?
Well, it wasn't properly coached. You're not picking up something that was, you know what I'm saying? That was set there already, like motion. It's not just talent. No,
I agree with
looking at that statement in one area where I'm telling you, you didn't pick up a program that was marching in the right direction, was headed in the right direction, had great foundation. Nothing. You picked up a building that was completely torn down and you're now rebuilding it back up again. And yeah, you got some talent, but really the entire structure of it all, from the recruiting.
Well, that's why he was brought in. That's why he was brought in, because the culture here, and I'm talking about not just the culture in the locker room, but the culture in the administration, didn't care. That's why he was brought here for. I get that. I agree with that.
Well, the only reason he's here is because they actually now care. That's the only reason he's here.
Right. So, I mean, the other thing that is just really, really, really like I don't get is how I don't know how you fix this, because you have a guy. I'm sorry.
Time.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking personnel wise. When you have 2 receivers that are down, and then you have a guy that's keep dropping passes. Like, what do you do at that point? Like, what can you try? You have 6 scholarship receivers now, and then where do you go to? Where do you throw to? Because we just talked about running backs, and look, they're gonna drop passes. All the guys are gonna drop passes. Jerry Rice,
but Mikey, you're gonna have to have some sacrificial lambs, my brother.
No, I get it, but my question
you got to set some examples and say dunce cap on you,
which is why TVD got benched at the half. And let me tell you something: there better not be no quarterback competition this week, because this is Jake's job right now.
No,
this is Jake's job right now.
They'll go back to Van Dyke.
They can't. I think is a coaching mistake, and I love Van Dyke because I didn't want to pull him at the half. Me personally, if it was on me, if it was my call, if Mario said, "Hey, Mike, should I pull him at the half?" I would have said no. Okay, he stuck with him and he pulled him late. But I think it's a bad.
I have no problem. He earned the right to try to fight out of it. I don't have
He
a
did
problem
because he
with
scored
that.
right before the half. I agree with that.
And he had a great year last year. To shit on Tyler Van Dyke that quickly is just terrible, man. And it's not all his fault, please.
It's not all his
Bunch
fault.
of people drop passes. Come on, man. He threw a
you.
touchdown to that kid that was diving. He put it right in his damn hands and he dropped it, dude. What do you want him to do?
Thank you, O. So the TVD dummies out there can go to their rooms. Thank you. I agree with that, but it's past that with him, O. There's something that's not connecting with him. Maybe it's the non-tempo portion of the offense.
You're going to put Garcia in the same spot. He's going to end up doing the same things.
But what do you do when you need a spark? You go to your bench, right?
Yeah.
You go to your Eddie House off the bench and give me 10.
I just find it unfair to quit on Tyler Van Dyke so quickly like that. I just don't think it's fair to him, and I don't think it's a good look for the program overall, because he was fantastic last year, and maybe he was in the right system, and maybe Gaddis has done a piss poor job of acclimating his skill set to this offense. You know what I'm saying? William Quigley, of course, from Cutter's Edge says, Big O, Marino inherited a team and recruits that are not designed for this system. Or you mean Mario, I'm sorry. And I would say, though, great coaches should be able to elevate even some else's players. Exactly. And that's what we were talking about before with Mike. That's why I have to, as much as I like Mario and I'm a Mario guy, I have to lay this on Mario and his staff more than anything else. All right. Thank you, as always, my brother. Appreciate you, as always, from Cutter's Edge. Let's go to Manny Navarro right now and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes post-game report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All righty, there he is. All right, Manny. William just sent in a super chat, and he's with me on this. Mike is on the other side of this discussion. I'm a big Mario Cristobal guy. I support the crap out of him. I don't want any changes or anything. But I have to say, what I saw today and the shortcomings from last week at times, I have to lay it on the coaches here. A lot of this. Don't tell me that you fixed the offense when you guys couldn't watch practice for a couple weeks leading into the season. Then I'm watching a lot of the same issues. You're telling me you practiced well throughout the week, and then I watch this. I watched the mistakes from last week. I watch what went on today, the lack of effort, the body language at times. I still think this is a terrific coaching staff on paper, but they have not also meshed together yet as a great coaching staff. And today was one of those messages that either they're not identifying the right people in practice or who to play or whatever it is, technique. But for me, I have to lay this on the feet of the coaches today, a lot of what went on and what's gone on in the last 2 weeks in a way. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, those are the get paid the big dollars to come in here and change things. Though, I mean, they paid them a lot of money to change the culture. But, I was talking with some of the other reporters afterward, and it just seems like there's one universal truth, right? You can change the coaches as many times as you want. You had Mark Richt here, you had Manny Diaz, you had Al Golden before, you had Randy Shannon. The constant theme is that this keeps happening. They keep losing games like this that they shouldn't lose to, opponents that they shouldn't lose to. So I don't know what it is. I don't know that there's a magic potion. I just think there's something rotten at the core with these kids. And I'm not going to put the blame on them because it's the coach's job to get this right and to make sure that you fix the culture. But it's clear that the culture hasn't changed. And, afterward, the players took ownership of that. Like, look, we got to come out here and play better than that, right? I mean, Middle Tennessee came out and shoved it down their throat for the beginning. And it doesn't matter if you go and play in front of 107,000 and play well against an SEC school and lose on the road. You got to come back the next week and play like a real football team. And they didn't. And it's been nothing but disappointment now for 20 years with this program. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Mario can fix this. I don't know if he can fix this with these players. I don't know if it just starts with completely bringing in a new group of players and having them buy into whatever it is he's selling. But it's clear that whatever he got from Manny Diaz, whatever was in that locker room has not changed because these guys continue to do this.
I'm glad you brought this up, and asked Manny about it. But Manny, like, you know, I don't feel like I'm in a minority. A lot of people feel like me. It's split down the middle 50-50. To me, players play and coaches coach. It's that simple. Everybody ranted and raved about the coaching staff and this and that. And I get what O is saying, that on paper, okay, they look great, but it's you know, it has to translate onto the field.
It's an unproven staff is what I'm saying. That
it's not.
I love the names, but collectively they haven't come together yet ever to prove that they're a great staff yet, and that's their job right now. That's all I'm saying.
4 games into the year. Okay, it's 4 games into the year, and my whole thing, Manny, is it's hard because if I got to put a number on it, 90 to 95% of today's debacle is on the players, and the other part is on the coaches. And the way I feel that way is, I told, I don't know how long you were in the backstage, but how do you look one way last week on the road in the SEC, Kyle Field, lights shining bright, played good enough to win, had, you know, the ball at the end of the game to try and tie it, to go into overtime, and then look like this next week? Did your coaches forget how to coach in 1 week? No. That's how I feel.
Right. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't sit here and just say it's scheme, right? Because they ran the same exact offense they ran the week before. All you did was change the quarterback in the third quarter. And to me, it's a culture issue. It's, how do you respond when you take a loss, right? How do you respond when you go on a place and you play your best and it still isn't good enough? How many times has Miami done this now? I don't have the stats directly in front of me. I'm standing outside of the stadium, but I'm willing to bet that if you go back season by season here in the last 20 years, you can find one loss followed by another 2 or 3 afterward, because these guys it's like they turn into mental midgets.
Yeah, but it used to happen after FSU. What the hell's going on now? Come on, they're breaking the damn rhythm.
Hey, listen. This was Mario's FIU moment, right? Manny Diaz, it took him 9 or 10 games for it to happen. This happened in game 4. So clearly, to me, all I see here is a group of kids. Doesn't matter who's coaching them. They have to show up. They have to take ownership of this. And when I hear the former Hurricanes talk, and I was with a bunch of them in October when they were getting rid of Manny and the whole conversation, bringing Mario home, all that stuff was going on. All they kept saying is, well, things are going to change when Mario's here because he's one of us. He knows what it means to be a Hurricane. Clearly, it's on the kids at a certain point to say, no, we're going to take that mentality too, and we're not going to come out flat, and we're not going to fall behind 17-3 and 24-3. We're not going to let a team that shouldn't beat us clown us on our home field. And yet, it didn't feel like they came to life. They didn't come to life at all until Jake Garcia was in the game.
Yeah, but see, here's the cart before the horse, the chicken before the egg stuff that we're going through.
Right.
If the kids continue to do this, who's identifying the kids?
Oh, the coaches. No, listen, you're 1,000% right. But here's the problem, though. But here's the problem. Like, these
don't
aren't
tell
Mario's
me
players.
DJ Ivey is a great practice player and he can't cover my grandmother down the field. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, bro, what's going on here?
But this is also the whole thing. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken bleep, right? You can't. It's the same concept of the coach comes in, he inherits problems. It's his job to change it, right? I'm of the core belief, and I think you are too, that once Mario has time to bring in all the ingredients, things are going to change here. I think the problem for all of us was he's going to come in and the culture is going to change because he's a different coach, and immediately people are going to buy into that. When clearly, that's not the way it works in reality. That's not the way it works. It takes time to do that, and that's why I'm talking about the rot, right? When you talk about a tree that's rotted and you cut it at the root, at a certain point here, whatever culture was here before has clearly not left the building. It's still clearly here in that locker room, and it hasn't left. It hasn't left where it needs to go. And I don't know when that's going to happen. It may take a long time. Who knows how? It may take another 20 years. Oh, I don't know. I know Mario's here for at least 10 of it.
Don't say that. Please don't say that.
Listen, we've got quite a few people on the chat board right now. All right. We've got to put, what is it, an APB is what the cops do. All right. We need una vieja con santería en Hialeah en un despojo. And that's it, bro. You know, she walks into that locker room and she walks into the Green Tree practice field and to everywhere. And she's just like, you know, with her chicken and everywhere. And Peter's chasing her and everything. But hey, it's gone. Okay. So I'm just saying, Key's here now. Kidnap Arande's kid. Find the right old lady with the black magic in Hialeah. And we're off and running. I mean, I think that's kind of what you need to do. I mean, listen, extreme moments call for extreme measures. And
all right, good question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right now.
No, all I was going to say is I think at this point, though, you have to think in the immediacy, right? The next 8 games, because they can still, I know as horrible as it was tonight, they could still somehow figure out a way to win the Coastal and accomplish something that they've only done once in the last 18 years, though. They still can. I don't know how it's going to happen.
Wait, so you're leaving writing now and you're becoming a comedian?
Yes.
That's
all I was doing was cracking jokes in the postgame before Mario got in.
No, hell, I was saying this game and planes, a Canes football game and a plane has a lot in common. They both need a barf bag. I mean, it's
blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
By Sean Stanley there. You, sir, Manny, you deserve the blind ass fan call there.
Hey, I'm spitting facts, brother. I'm
spitting the table in the Coastal.
No. I am not saying they're going to run the division and run the table or whatever. All I'm saying is, look at how bad the Coastal is. Okay, it is not a great division. Period. So the possibility that they get their crap together behind Jake Garcia, I think, is still there. The question now is, what do you do at quarterback? Is Jake have to be that guy? And I think the feeling coming out of tonight, at least some of the honest responses that we got was, yes, things are different when Jake is in the game in the sense of leadership. Tyler has always been sort of a quiet guy behind the scenes. Jake is more of a rah-rah guy. And it's something I've heard for months, that's the way it really is behind the scenes, that Jake is the guy that gets them going in practice and gets guys fired up. Clearly tonight, we saw it on the field for a little bit of this game. Now, is he going to come in and fix all their ails? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I think for the immediate future and the success of the team moving forward, it might be something that they have to do.
I have another answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have another answer. Okay. What we do is Ruiz has got a lot of money, right? So we hologram the entire stadium. For every week, make it look like a packed stadium. So that way, when Tyler walks in, it looks like a packed stadium. He gets that college atmosphere. He feels really good about it. It's not real people, but he won't know the difference. We won't tell him. You know what I mean? He just looks out, and it's just the place is packed.
Yeah.
To the gills. And I think that's what was missing. He only likes to perform in places where they have a college-like atmosphere. And today, it looked more like an AA meeting. You know, there were a couple of people talking, hey, yeah, I've got a drinking problem. Yeah, I've got a drinking problem. And by the way, I saw the Barstool Sports videos. Yeah, they've got a drinking problem. There's no doubt about that.
Manny, I'm interested to see what the response is like from fans, media, whatever, whoever is looking at this game and say, well, see, I told you so. If and when Miami has a bye week next week, we all know how Miami performed after bye weeks under Manny Diaz. So they have a bye week. ACC play starts.
So what you're saying is nothing's going to change? Is that what you're saying? Nothing's going to change?
No. I'm interested to see how much differently, because I don't think they're going to respond like this next week against UNC. I really, really, in my heart of hearts, feel that Miami thought, we played our asses off last week. It's just going to translate over to this week against the lesser opponents. And they got stomped in the mouth and said, what the hell was going on? Miami's not going to play like this again for against UNC. Will they play lights out? No, but they're not going to look lifeless. I really don't think they're going to look lifeless because of who the opponent is. It's AC Police play now. This game was a mental midget game, just like Manny just said. And off that, what I wanted to ask was, you kind of answered it. I'm of the belief that there is no quarterback controversy this week. The reason I say that is I love TVD, but there seems to be some type of disconnect, whether it be confidence, whether it be timing, whatever the case is. Something isn't there, whether he's not comfortable. So I don't know if it was spoken about before we had the press conference on the show, but was there any talk of any quarterback controversy that he was going to open up that competition, or did he stand behind TVD?
No, I think he stood behind TVD coming into this week. I think there was no question that the blame was placed on the receivers and the offensive scheme for what happened at Texas A&M. But now after today, you can clearly see that Tyler, his throwing motion, the way he throws on the run, whatever it is, he's just off. There are throws that are
he's not
way
playing
off.
confident.
He's not playing confident, and he's throwing balls with it that they shouldn't be. If he puts that ball in Will Mallory's chest and not in his head, that's probably a touchdown earlier in the game, and who knows what happened. This week it was more on Tyler than it was the week before. There's no question. And so I think Mario has an issue, and he talked about it. You guys carried the post game. We obviously asked those questions related to Tyler, and he said scheme. He said for him, he's not adjusting to the scheme the way that he needs to. If that's the case, I think it's pretty obvious that Jake was better in the scheme that they ran tonight than Tyler was in the first, 9 or 10 possessions of the game when Miami couldn't get anything going. So I think there will be a quarterback change. I think Tyler will be on the bench when Miami plays UNC in 2 weeks.
All right, so let me go off of a couple of things. First of all, Sean, please grab that last prediction by Mike for next week's game, okay? Just in case. I just want to have that. I want to have that locked and loaded, like a blind-ass fan alert. I want to have that prediction locked and loaded, okay? So you and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Gaddis has to be careful how he converts this offense. You inherited talent that played better in a different offense. Right. Why not do more of that? And in fact, Mike and I talked about this, that when you went and hurried up a little bit, Tyler got a little bit in a groove. So why not? Was it the smartest thing to just go all out and change the entire offense? Or is it better to gradually get into that offense as your talent it takes over into that offense? But since you inherited talent that probably belongs on another offense, why not use more of those elements? Maybe you'll get your quarterback more in a groove. And then the other thing is, going back to coaching, as I've made this point with Mike several times now, if Jake fits your scheme better than he did, you also did a shitty ass job of identifying that. And so that falls on you also, coaches, because if Jake is the better fit, then that's your fault right there, because you probably should have figured that out early on. And now you're in this crap storm as it is. But first of all, don't answer that one. Answer the other one on the transformation of the offense and what you inherited and what you're trying to install.
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, when you take over as a new coordinator and you come over to a new school, you never really know, right, until the bullets start flying, what it is that you have. You can see things in practice. You can imagine things. You can say, man, when I put this guy out there, he's gonna kick ass. This is the perfect scheme. But then you kind of learn a little something about each of those guys. And clearly, Tyler went into a new offense. It was not a hurry up. He lost 2 of his best receivers after last year, and he's just played like a different guy. And I'm sure he wasn't that guy in practice. I had people. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, I lost you for a second. I had people who were actually at scrimmages and got to watch it who told me he was kicking ass, that Jake was struggling with the second-team offensive line. So I don't think they made a mistake by playing Tyler and going with the scheme. I think the issue is once the bullets started to fly and once you lost Xavier Restrepo, it changed everything for them because Xavier was a big part of this offense. He was going to catch a lot of balls this year. I think the moment that all went down, he needed to adjust. And the problem was he didn't adjust till the third quarter today. And so that's what I fault Josh Gaddis for. But for coming in with this plan, for believing in Tyler Van Dyke after what he did last season, I don't blame him for that because the proof was in the pudding. Jake Garcia, I mean, he played a little bit against Central Connecticut State, and then he was done for the year. Tonight was really the first time in his career that they said, Jake, save us. and he showed you something. So now you have something that you can say, okay, you know what? When the bullets are flying and the lights are on, this guy showed up and he could do something for us. So now it changes things. But coming in, do I blame Josh Gaddis for playing, Tyler and trying to make the most of this offense the way he had? No, because that's what was working best in practice, and I think that's the team that they plan to have. But things change. Injuries change things. Defensive schemes change things, and you have to make adjustments. And I'm glad that they did change the quarterback. I mean, they could have stuck to their guns the whole game here. But I'm glad that they had the guts to do it, because now they know this causes a huge distraction and issue in the locker room. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke's supposed to be a first-round pick, right? Yeah, he's supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He has not been that any way, shape, or form. And where I agree with you, is at a certain point as a coordinator, you have to know a little bit more, right? You have to know, hey, if I put this guy in a situation where he's no longer in the hurry-up, and I put him under center, and I make him hand the ball off a lot, how's that going to affect him? I think the reality is Josh Gaddis won the Broyles Award last year because of what Michigan did, but he hasn't been a play caller for very long, okay? So that's another aspect to this all. Yes, Mario brought in the Broyles Award winner, but he didn't bring in a guy who's been a coordinator for 20 years, okay? Right. This is a guy who is still, I think, learning somewhat, and he got exposed. I
was more impressed with Lashley than I have been with Gaddis so far, I have to say.
Yeah. Right. But Lashley had been calling plays at Auburn with Malzahn. I mean, he was there on the national championship caliber team. So, he was a little older, little more experienced. So, Look, man, and let's not forget, Lashley, I mean, that offense, that team, it was a different concept. Mario wants to run the football, right? And he hired Gaddis to run the football. So, to me, that was their plan. Now the plan has to change.
And then it's hard to run tempo when you got guys dropping balls. I mean, let's be honest with you. How can you stay in an up-tempo offense when you keep going back to the huddle after an incomplete pass? It's just not going to happen. It's impossible to happen in the rules of football.
100%.
Yep. I'm with you there. All right. Any final thoughts as we let you go overall?
My final thoughts are that I'm really interested to see which players step up here in the next couple of weeks to take some ownership of all this, man. Because I think while you can build a great coaching staff, you can't change the culture without the players playing a part in that. And today, the Manny Diaz, Mark Richt, Al Golden, Randy Shannon, Miami Hurricanes showed up, and it's not good enough. And they have to learn to change that locker room. They need to. There's something rotten at the core that has to get out, and it's been stuck in this locker room for too long. It's too long.
Let me ask you a question, Manny, really quick. I know you're going. Worst loss, FIU or today? I got FIU.
Here's why I say today. Okay. Here's why. The only reason I say today. FIU was at the end of a bad season already for Manny Diaz. This came out of left field. After Texas A&M, like, we just did not expect this to happen. So you're
losing recruits because of this.
Right. You're going to lose guys to this. They're Malik Bryant, who's one of their top, defensive players in the recruiting class. He was here to watch us. I'm sure he's going to decommit. There's other guys that are going to be looking at this saying, man, I can't invest in this. Look at what a clown. This is the clown show that everybody kept telling me about that was in the past. It's back. Right. So I think, as bad as the FIU one is, and I think in the hearts of fans, it'll always be worse in this game.
Right, because it's a local thing,
Because it's a local thing. I think in the long run, this one, if you were to ask me, man, which like this to me has to be the low point of Mario's.
Oh, this is a step back for Mario. This is a setback for Mario. This is his first setback for overall. I'll give you this, where you compare those losses. I don't think there's up for argument. This is the worst secondary in the history of the Miami Hurricanes, correct?
Yeah, they don't obviously get to face Max Johnson every single week, and an injury-riddled / suspended Texas A&M receiving corps. So whatever worked last week didn't matter. The DJ Ivy we know showed up tonight, and so did a few of the other guys who have been burned way too many times.
No, but DJ Ivy's a great practice player. Come on. Practice. Talking about practice. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And, of course, subscribe to The Athletic so you can get real coverage of your Miami Hurricanes, even if it's painful. Manny, thank you, my brother. Drive safely. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Manny.
Thank you, guys. Good talking to you.
You got it. All right, there you go. Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes post-game reports. Losing to FIU was the low point. Well, maybe not, says Juan Castillo. Now, this is, see, the bad part about this loss is you're Mario. You've got all this great vibe. You've brought some people over from recruiting. You built a hell of a staff. You've got a booster that is handing out millions of dollars in NIL deals. You've got all this momentum, right? And you could lose that Texas A&M game, and it's all right. But this is the one that recruits are going to say, come on, man, you guys got to beat this. If you can't beat this, this is the team you want me to join. And so this now becomes the one first negative on his resume, on his, attempt to rebuild the structure of this whole program. This is a setback for him, unfortunately, and there's going to be, repercussions from it. The good thing is it's not going to be his job or anything like that, but it is going to make his job, Mike, just a little bit harder.
Well, I agree in that this is his first setback, but the only way that this makes his job a little bit harder is if he doesn't adjust personnel, right? Adjust personnel. And I still don't think that you coach effort. So what happens now? All right, look, man, we're going to go look at that film. You know that Twitter account from the black dude with the hat that goes back and he, Davis's mom and this and that. And he, you suck, you pissed down your leg. That guy. Yeah, Mario has to do that this week. Mario has to do this week. Too big for the moment. You pissed down your leg, blah, 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 blah. Justice Oluwaseun, get him off of my field, okay? I know Corey Flagg had 2 defensive player of the games. Get him off my field. At least on passing downs. On third and obvious, get him off my field. Give me speed. Give me Chase Smith. Give me Wesley Besaint. Give me guys that I can expect mistakes from as a freshman or as a redshirt freshman with barely any snaps. Corey Flagg is a perfect linebacker if this was 20 years ago because he's a downhill thumper. I don't want to see him in pass coverage anymore. I just don't. I just don't. And I get it. You can pass out of 30 inches. You can pass out of 3rd and 1. Hell, we saw a Super Bowl lost because they were inside the freaking 5. All right. So you can pass at any point. But on 3rd and obvious, get him off of my field. Those are 2 things that I would change personnel wise. Joshua Oluwaseun, get out. We got two transfers that came in from the Oregon offensive line last year. Okay. And Logan Stogopolu. All right. Love him. Give me him at the right guard, okay? And also, I forget his first name. His last name was Dennis. Went to South Dade Senior High School. I think he's still a little injured because I believe he was injured during the offseason. Give me that. Miami has built depth through the transfer portal. Let me see that, okay? The other part, you're probably still going to see a lot of DJ Ivey, and I'm going to tell you why. We don't know the extent of the injury to Tyreek Stevenson. And did you see what was behind DJ Ivey? Malik Curtis, who should be playing receiver, cannot play corner. He just can't. So, yes, this may be the worst secondary I've ever seen in Miami history, aside from those sanction days in the mid-90s, okay? But, God damn it, man. There's not much behind Ivy to play. So, guys, you're going to have to suck it up. 8's probably going to be starting next week.
Well, the thing is, I look at that schedule and, brother, now I fear the hell out of that schedule. By the way, FIU lost to Western Kentucky 73-0.
Wow.
Florida lost to Tennessee 38-33.
Wow.
I'm just trying to give you a couple things that might make some of you Miami fans
feel better. Did Notre Dame lose?
A little better. Notre Dame. Let me see. Where the hell is Notre Dame?
Notre Dame at UNC.
They beat UNC.
Damn it.
Oh, they did.
And FSU's going to win.
Yes. Okay. So there you go. Notre Dame won. So
look, the good you want to hear.
So bad day for FIU, and FAU is. By the way, FAU is beating Purdue 10-7 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter.
Good.
That's what I'm going to watch now when I get off.
And I bet you N'Kosi Perry.
I'll watch little Owls. Who?
Yeah, and I bet you N'Kosi Perry's having a nice, decent game over there. I'm glad
he's going to win.
Home.
He's going to play well.
I said I bet you N'Kosi Perry's playing well.
I will pull up the stats for you. And I will tell you what N'Kosi Perry is doing. By the way, if you got any final questions here on the YouTube chat board, send them in and we will try to answer them. Juan says, I understand this is Mario's first year and not his recruits, but a good coach is expected to make the best of what he has. Today, Mario did not meet that expectation. Hopefully he will learn. The good thing is Mario will learn. And the good thing is that eventually, put it this way, we've proven one thing. Mario may not be a miracle worker. He might be a heck of a coach, but he's not a miracle worker. So he inherited a bunch of guys that obviously he can't even shape himself. But over the next year or two, he better go and find people like he gave the Dolphins to, like he gave the Detroit Lions, that, some of those elite players that are high character people, hopefully those kind of players come through and become those kind of recruits that come here to the University of Miami, because clearly you don't have enough players that take pride in what they're doing. They must be skilled, but they must not have the heart. N'Kosi, by the way, is 6 of 8 for 65 yards and a touchdown. He also has, and for you all there that want to smoke, 4 rushes for 20 yards, 420. All you.
We're probably going to need that after tonight's loss.
Yes. Visit your nearest dispensary and enjoy yourselves, because, it's not a good thing. Or have a whiskey, whatever it is that you do. I'm saying, everybody relaxes their own way. Have some sex. I don't know, however you do it. Go play golf or something. I don't know, Top Golf. Go whack the ball a whole bunch of times, a couple 100 yards or something. Whatever it is that you do, you know what I'm saying? Go chase storms. The hell is wrong with you? But go ahead and do it. Anyway, any final thoughts there, Mikey, on 2 weeks now that we will not be on for 2 weeks now. So we get a weekend break next week from Canes football.
2 things. I hope Chad or Sean got that clip, and I pray to God it's one of those old takes exposed things, because I really don't think Miami's going to come out flat against UNC. If they
we have don't hope, right? No, it's guaranteed. We have that. We're going to have it locked. I think Sean already has it cut up already. Okay,
but,
I think he's already set and ready for that North Carolina game already with that cut.
But I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. I don't have anything else to say other than, to me, this loss was way more on the players than it was on the coaches, and I know we disagree on that. That's cool. But I'm just disappointed, man. I'm glad that they have a bye week. The other thing is, I wish it was the other way around, and I said that. I wish that the bye week was – I said that after last week's game. I wish the bye week was this week, because I think that a game like this could have got you a little bit more in a row for UNC. But now you got to have a stench of playing like shit and looking like this for 2 weeks, and then you got to dwell on it and, whatever. But
good luck. Have fun with Mario for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Destroy them.
To me, you stick with Jake, and I hope everybody's healthy enough for these guys to compete, man. By
the way, just a funny note on the way out here. Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett hires assistant to help with game day decisions. So basically, he needs a guy to tap his shoulder. Hey, asshole, you're paying Russell Wilson a lot. Use him, not the kicker. So that's it. They could hire me to do that. I can be the assistant for Nathaniel Hackett. Please let me be. Come on, dude. What's wrong with? Can I get an easy job like that? Does it really take a rocket scientist to say, yeah, no, I've got a better shot with Russell Wilson than a 64-yard field goal?
I can't believe they did that.
What you're going to tell me is, don't hand it off to Marshawn Lynch against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, because that's also another great decision. Because that's the only decision that was worse than the decision you made with Russell Wilson. Was the one that— I
cannot believe that they went for that field. I couldn't believe that they went for that field goal. And did he really? Are you dicking around? They really?
I'm reading ahead. That comes from the owner. That comes from the general manager. That comes from— they're so pissed from that decision and the ramifications from all of that, and the effects and everybody reacting to it, that they said, "Wow, we can't trust this guy." And so now you had to hire somebody to help the head coach on game day decisions. You hired a head coach. He's supposed to know what the hell to do on game day.
But isn't there already assistant coaches on the staff that help you with that? So what does that say? You don't trust the assistant coaches
Apparently
either?
they're really stupid. Yes, they're really stupid.
We could have done that for cheaper.
Yeah. Think about it this way. The Denver Broncos coaching staff is kind of like the Russian government. It's just Putin and like a whole bunch of, Muppets. Yeah. And so he's just controlling. It's the same thing. So they figured it out. Wow, Nathaniel has a whole bunch of idiots. Let's go hire somebody with a brain. And so that's it. That's kind of what's going on right there. That's the crazy analogy for crazy right there. But all right, on behalf of the great Mike McCoy, the amazing Sean Stanley, who, of course, has the video of Mike McCoy locked and loaded for 2 weeks from now against North Carolina in that postgame show. And, of course, Chad Shoby, who is hanging out and just loving life like he always does. He'll be rocking on Monday. He'll be with us over at we will be at Heat Media Day on Monday. So that's going to be awesome. We will have a show. It'll probably be in the afternoon. So we'll have the post game. So we'll be able to talk about the Dolphins win over the Bills tomorrow. And by the way, the Dolphins and Tua will save us tomorrow after all of this today. So tomorrow we have that. We'll have the pre and post game show for the Dolphins. We'll also have, of course, on Monday, we'll be at Heat Media Day. So Canes, Dolphins, Heat, probably the three biggest franchises in town, the three most important stories constantly covered on this platform for you, every South Florida fan around the world. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for making donations, however you did, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show or the Super Chat. Those of you that tuned in, downloaded the show at any time at your discretion. We thank you all out there. Please subscribe. Please share. We will catch you on Sunday. Mike will be back on Tuesday. By the way, you know who you're having on already, Mikey? Just to give a quick.
You want me to tell him or no?
Hell yeah, it's your show, baby. Let's go.
So, former Miami quarterback who still lives in Miami, who's working at a law firm right now at Miami Beach, who is on the coaching staff at Miami Northwestern Senior High School, a guy who I walked with in graduation. Greg Crow. I know that guy, that name is probably going to be like, whatever, but wait until you see how we're going to talk about this show on Tuesday. Greg Crow from Clearwater, Florida. He's going to join the show on Tuesday.
Okay, there you go. And I'm sure he'll have other stuff and hardcore hour of Canes football talk from 8 to 9 with the Miami Hurricanes watch. Remember, from 7 to 8, it'll be the State of Florida Gridiron Roundtable, and that'll be Canes, Seminoles, and Gators talk with three of the top insiders in the state for one complete hour there. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Please get your hurricane supplies. Do not underestimate this thing. You never know if it jogs even more east, if it jogs even more west. So if you live in Alabama or Mississippi or Texas and you're watching the show, please be careful. You all live in the Gulf area. You know how brutal it can be for any of us in that area. And, of course, our friends on the West Coast of Florida, please prepare and out in the Panhandle. We love you all out there. Please be safe. All right? We will see you tomorrow. Have a great one out there.
This has been the Miami Hurricanes Postgame Show on the Sports Talk 305 Network. This show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Show. Please subscribe to our platform by searching Big O Radio Show on all digital avenues. On behalf of our staff, we thank you for supporting us. Have a fantastic week.